Joe Kennedy said, if you get my son in, help him get in. Meanwhile, they help him get in, and then they went after them.
What are you mad about that rat for? He should have died a long time ago. My father made a comment like that.
Yeah.
All the people in the know at that time that were there, and they 1,000% told me it was a mob hit. Something is very hot right now. And listen, I know you weren't a mobster, I know that, but you grew up and you had friends and
Yes.
you knew the deal.
Oh, yes.
Did you ever hear from any of those guys that you knew, and some of them I knew also, about the JFK assassination, if my former associates were involved in it or not? Did you ever hear anything like
Yes.
that? You did?
Yeah, I heard that from day one.
Okay.
From day one. I mean, then you would hear it, yeah, this guy, and then you didn't know if it was, guys were bullshitting, if it was true, but I heard it from day one. They were upset because of the whole thing with Joe Kennedy. Mm-hmm. Joe Kennedy said, if you get my son in, help him get in. Meanwhile, they help him get in, and then they went after them.
All right. And that's all true, because we delivered the state, when I say we, people know it.
Yeah.
We delivered the state of Illinois to them in a very tight race with Nixon and Kennedy back
Right,
then.
that's absolutely correct, and I heard that from day one.
And what was supposed to happen at that point, they were supposed to back off, because they were starting to get a little crazy with the mob guys back then. They were supposed to back off. They didn't. Robert Kennedy went full force.
Full force.
Okay. So now that the Trump is saying he's going to release the confidential documents that were supposed to be released, every time they're going to be released, they stop it. Trump was going to do it last time, and then he stopped. This time, I think he's serious. He's going to release JFK, RFK, and Martin Luther King. We'll see. So I was on Piers Morgan a couple of days ago with a panel, and we're all talking about there was an ex-CIA agent, some guy that, you know, just like hated the way the whole investigation was on JFK, and then there was me. So I told Piers, and I'll swear by this, I've heard this my whole life. I remember I was 12 years old when he died.
Right.
I was sitting out in my patio, my father and mother there. My mother was upset, and my father said, I'll never forget, what are you mad about that rat for? He should have died a long time ago. My father made a comment like that, right? Like, he was mad that my mother got upset. That's the first thing that put in my head. When I got into the life, I talked to my father afterwards. He said, you know what happened there. I said, this bum, the whole family should die. He talked to me like that. He was really upset.
He was hated.
Hated. So I have spoken to all the people in the know at that time that were there, and they 1,000% told me it was a mob hit. Now, let me be clear on this. I believe the CIA, the government was involved in it also. Obviously, they had to be. I don't believe that we planned that hit. I don't think we hired Oswald and planned the hit. I think what happened, for whatever reason, and I have no idea why, the government wanted to eliminate, a faction of the government wanted to eliminate Kennedy. That's on them. I don't know what happened there. But I know they came to us to clean it up. And that's what Jack Ruby did. Jack Ruby goes back to the days of Capone with Chicago. He was close with them in Chicago. He was with, I forget the guy's name, in Dallas, who was the boss there. I always forget his name. And that guy came from New Orleans, 100%. And I said, if I had to stake my life on this, I would say it. I have no horse in this race. Doesn't matter to me. And you know what it is, Chazz? Guys on the street, guys of substance. I don't mean the thugs. They don't admit to stuff like this. They don't want to talk about it. So I just wanted to know if you heard anything about it, because, and the other thing I said, they've tried to say in the investigation that Jack Ruby had no connection with the mob, which is a total lie. And what I told, total lie.
A strip club.
It's a strip club.
In the
He's
60s.
paying them off, the whole thing. And I told Pierce, if those confidential documents are released, and they claim in the documents that Ruby wasn't attached to the mob, then you can throw the whole thing out.
Yeah, that's bullshit, That'll
be the proof to me. So I just wanted to see what your
Yeah, no, I've heard that for years. I mean, did you hear that they actually killed Jack Ruby in prison? I heard they actually injected
him. Yeah.
You heard that?
Yeah, I heard.
Again, you hear the mob guys talk about this, you know? They hated Joe Kennedy. He was the one. Everybody hated him.
Yeah, and they said that they tried to say he had no mob connection. He goes back to the days with Frank Costello. Frank Costello wanted to have him killed.
Yeah.
wanted to have him killed.
Yeah.
From his bootleg.
You know, after all these years, the past, 10 years, 15 years, I've seen things that the government has done and learned. And I go, you know what? We were naive, man. These cats could do anything. Yeah.
Chazz, I got to tell you, I don't want to get into the politics, but
No.
we've seen in the last 4 years,
Yeah.
I won't put anything past them.
I mean, I
Nothing.
grew up thinking, no, nobody would ever plant evidence. No, this is America. But boy, was I wrong.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, listen, what people don't understand is the most corrupt organizations in the world are governments. That's
Yeah.
it. And I think, listen, if Trump follows through with what he said, because I think he's angry too and he wants to clean the swamp, we're going to see a lot
Yeah.
of junk come out. We're going to see a lot.
Yeah, I bet so. I bet, yeah.
Republicans and Democrats.
Oh,
Just
both.
saying, yeah, both sides.
Both. Are you kidding?
You know, we're not saying any side is angels, but I think you're going to see more on the Democrat side. But
No,
you know,
I look at the war, the weapons of mass destruction, the trillions of dollars, and the boys that were killed. I mean,
they got blood on their hands.
blood on their hands. I told you quickly, I was speaking to a guy, like Halliburton.
Yeah.
Okay. And I said to him, I'll never forget it, Michael. I said to him, listen, let me ask you a question. I said, you do this. I said, you have children, right? He says, yeah. I was just crazy. I was just pissed. And I said, when you go to bed at night and you have children that are grown, I said, do you ever feel bad? How you make your money? And he looks at me and he just says, war is very profitable, Chazz.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the way he said that. War is very profitable, Chazz.
And it is.
And I just never had respect for that guy after that. I don't know. And maybe he's just a businessman, but it was the way he said it that just bugged me, man.
Yeah.
Bugged me.
We know that to be a fact. God knows how much money was robbed and all this money that went over to Ukraine.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that kickbacks weren't gone.
Are you kidding?
Without a doubt.
Oh, my God.
No doubt.
The kickbacks.
Yeah.
The kickbacks that they must have got. It's all about kickbacks.
Yeah. And everything.
We grew up in the street. It's kickbacks. Yeah. Whenever you helped your friend, if it was a nothing, and he said, listen, Michael, I had guys that said it to me. Chazz, could you hook me up? Oh, all right, so what's the deal? In other words, yeah. I'll take care of this. But what about?
Exactly.
You want to wet your beak, as they say.
Exactly.
And that's the way it's run.
That's the way the world is run.
That's the way the world is, yes.
And government is no different. They're the biggest perpetrators.
That's the biggest one.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see your take because I know there's going to be a lot of action, a lot of talk about this in the next couple of weeks.
If he lets them out.
Well, he ordered the release. Now they're supposedly, who knows what they're going to redact? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, they can always cross things out. They could not put it there. That's why I don't know.
Listen, I have maintained this all along. I've said it for years now. I don't believe our government is ever going to want to admit that the mob was able to get to a sitting president. You know what that looks like for them?
You know what they could do, Michael? And again, I'm just spitballing here. They could not order the hit, but they could say to some certain people, hey, he's going to be here. If you want to do something, it's a good time to do it because we're going to stand down a little bit. We're not going to be so
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. You bring up something. My dad had always maintained, and I found out he was wrong about this, I believe. He always maintained that Al Capone was injected with the syphilis virus while he was in prison. He always said, Michael, they killed Al Capone. The feds injected him with syphilis.
Wow.
But then I found out, I said, Dad, I did work on him, and he had syphilis well before. No, I don't believe that. I said, well, it's been reported.
No, it has been reported.
Yeah, he had it. I think his wife had it also.
Yeah.
And he refused to get treatment.
Yeah.
He refused to get treatment. That's why it advanced to the way it
Yeah.
But my dad always said, no, you don't believe that. He got it in there. I said, Dad, let me show you.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to see nothing.
No, they don't want to see that.
He said, you think the feds wouldn't do that? I said, I didn't say that. I said, with Al Capone, I don't think that's the way it
I think the feds will do anything.
Hey.
Really.